Hey guys, it's Nelson Rhyne and Leighton Boggs. Welcome to the Southern Lite LED and Southern Mud podcast, where we're going to dive deep into where this company started and how we got to where we are today, and all the people along the way and the experiences that we've experienced together and what got us to where we are today. This is Mr. Leighton Boggs. He's one of the first ones that helped me start this company. Without him, I can guarantee you would not be where I am today. And he is a whiz when it comes to camera and camera gear. He's got all this set up for us today. And we're going to talk about a lot of our experiences and where we got started. Guys, this right here, don't know how many of you have gone to our YouTube channel, but that is where all this got started, was this product right here. It's kind of interesting. Started off trying to come up with a better solution to, back in the day when you ran a boat, you used to have a spotlight Q-beam. We got to where we would mount them on broomsticks, tape the Q-beam to a broomstick, run, sit there and twist your broomstick. Your spotlight would go back and forth in the timber, and I'm sure you remember it.
I thought that was actually advanced technology back then. I thought that was genius.
It was. I mean, back then, people would be like, oh my gosh, you got a broomstick with your light taped to it. And that was, innovation then. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of where we got started with this. You can kind of go to our website, southernliteled.com. You can go to the bio, read about it. But I'll give you a brief synopsis. Had some instances where we had them spotlights, and you'd have one hand on your tiller handle, you'd have one hand holding the spotlight, and absolutely nothing holding on to the boat. There's a cut running out of Mill Lake on the Little Black River, and we would go down through there, and if you cut a certain corner, I knew it, been there so many times with shallow water, high water, but new people would not know it. Man, I'll never forget one night, there was a guy, he sat there, was going, and he tried to cut us and beat us downriver. And he came through, he hit that log that was about that far underwater, his motor kicked up and broke his tiller handle right off his boat. And this is in the middle of the night. So you're talking about two spotlights. One guy's got a spotlight holding, he's down in the floor. Now there's no light, there's no boat. I've got mine, and I look over and I see that boat headed right toward us. And there's 3 kids in that boat with their eyes up, big as, moon, and scared to death. And I'm like, holy smokes, we're about to collide. Luckily, I yanked straight right to the bank, and we, did glancing blows. But, kind of from that day, it was like LED technology was just coming out. And I was like, there's got to be a better way. I mean, you have nothing holding on. You're holding a light. You're holding your tiller handle. I almost died, and had 2 kids at that point, or one on the way, I think. And it's kind of life-changing experience when you have something like that.
Safety's number one.
Yeah. That is that's basically why I started it out, was to there had to be a safer way, and overcoming the differences in power consumption. I mean, they had all kinds of KC highlights and daylights and all kinds of halogen stuff. I mean, I had them on my boat, but by the time you flicked them on, your battery was dead. You couldn't crank your engine. They didn't give out enough light to really see anything. So a KC light that ran a beam really tight, was about the most efficient thing, but you had to constantly sit there and, wave that light back and forth to be able to see bank, 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 bank. And it was quite an experience. It made it pretty thrilling. I'm sure you can remember.
Oh yeah. Go into, I guess, how you came up with the idea and then put it all together, and what was going through your mind with this.
So kind of what I found out was, in the beginning, a lot of the LED light bars, Rigid Industries, everyone knows Rigid, got bought out long time ago, but in the beginning they were one of the pioneers on the industry. And you know, what we found out in testing a lot of products that were on the market, I mean, LEDs were, I mean, you'd go back a year before, it was non-existent, maybe in military applications and stuff like that, but as, you know, civilians, whatever, I mean, normal people, we had no idea that, I mean, LEDs even existed. And so it just, man, when it came, so Rigid Industries was one of the pioneers, I guess, or at least the ones to the American market that we saw that, you know, came out with all these light bars, and everyone was like rigid, rigid, rigid. And so we started testing products, and, you know, the big thing with boats that people don't realize, it's not like a vehicle. Vehicles all drive on a road at the same plane. You got front and rear, so the vehicle always travels at the same plane in relationship to the ground. So the light beams could be very horizontal and not much vertical projection because it's irrelevant on a vehicle. But as you get in a duck boat, people know, I mean, heck, one day you might have 3 people. All of a sudden, Billy Bob from your other buddy's boat jumps over in yours, and now your boat's sitting like this. And so what we had to do is, I mean, one thing I wanted was we had to make it adjustable, you know, to where you could adjust it. And then I really wanted to play with the beam projection. What we realized different with halogen bulbs is the halogen bulb used a reflector or housing that would project the light out. Well, quickly we realized that doesn't work with LEDs. A lot of the generic companies still to this day use that technology because it's so embedded in our minds that that works or does something. And we actually realized with the lenses here that that actually controls the light. And so that gave us our vertical projection that we had to have. So we started testing it, and efficiency was real big. Cree LEDs were the pioneers. Lumen per watt barrier was being broken pretty rapidly at that time. So lights become more efficient and brighter. And so that's basically what we did, and just kept testing and testing. I mean, heck, you were out there. We tested the stew out of these things, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically how it, you know, how we got started, and kept doing that. And then, I mean, heck, that's how the, you know, Gen 1 or LED boat light, I guess you could call it, got started. Man, it's just exploded from there. And I think the biggest thing was, or I know the biggest thing that got it all started, and really where I physically saw it explode, was when we started the commercial. I mean, I guess you can tell them how that went down a little bit, and how the commercial happened.
So you came up with this idea, you know, first of all, you know, the military grade style. I remember, you know, on your first boat you had the winch, and so it's, you know, I got to figure out a way to put it on top of the winch. You know, it can't be over here or over there. So, you know, you put in the work to figure out how to, you know, weld it on top of the winch. And I just thought, you know, that's genius. And just that the make of it, you know, with that steel, I was just like, that's gonna sell. That's gonna be the hottest thing everybody's gonna want. And because I myself, I love rugged stuff, you know, that you can take a bat to, you know, step on it. And that's part of the video is we're, you know, pulling the boat with, by the boat light itself, stepping on it. I mean, using it for, you know, multi-purpose, just because it's so, you know, rugged and strong and stiff. And so, and then we've even in the video, it's knocking down brush as we're, you know, driving through the timber. We're hitting limbs with the boat light. Right. And for me as a producer and, you know, marketing type industry, that just kind of resonated with me. And, you know, and being an outdoor hunting enthusiast, you know, I kind of see that, you know, I like to be hands-free headlamps, you know, and I want to be able to be able to have my gun or whatever strapped to me and be able to have my hands, for safety, just like you said, to be able to grab, or if you fall or you fall in the water with your waders on, which I did probably every time.
Oh, yeah.
And so anyways, it came up with the boat light, and I was just enthralled with it. And, Nelson is a photo enthusiast himself and takes great photos, and he had his own camera. And back then, you're looking at 12 years ago. That, from Facebook today with phones today, I mean, we didn't have the technology, believe it or not, in 2013, 2014. I mean, you're almost in dinosaur age back then with technology, and we had to come up with a game plan, a strategy of what we want the viewers to see. And you can't just go out there like you do now and just do TikTok or whatever with your phone and, get everything that you want. We had to put together $10,000 worth of, video equipment, tripods. And
well, we knew if we could show people what it actually looked like. Like, YouTube was really, really big and taking off around that time. And it was, if we can just get this into people's phones or, computers. I don't even remember how we watched YouTube back then, but there was no Facebook and stuff like that really. So we just knew if we could show people, pictures, photos, videos, this is what you get. That, I mean, we knew every single person would have to have it, and every duck hunter would have to have it. And I mean, here we are today, and that's become a reality.
And that was one thing that Nelson his vision was every duck hunter needs this. And that's where it started, was, duck hunting. And that's, we both saw it. And we were just like, every duck boat needs this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gone to just everything now, four-wheelers, trucks, stuff like that. But the main goal was just safety on duck boats.
Yeah, how many people has it saved since these things have come out?
Right.
And I'm really glad in the beginning there was a lot of fight with, game and fish and rules and regulations with, you can't run this, it's unsafe. I mean, there's still that debate. I think using it responsibly is the biggest thing. But I mean, I see stuff, over the years to where I would see like famous football players driving their boats and hitting jetties and, all of them getting killed. And it's like, if they just had a light on. I mean, we don't drive down the roads with no lights on.
It's
Using
even worse
moonlight.
in the timber. I mean, it is pitch black, and you've got hundreds of duck hunters lined up, back to back to back. It's unbelievable.
I know it. So, that was the vision I saw. You nailed it on the head, was, the safety aspect. We've got to get this out there. And heck, I poured everything I could and just, solely focused on that. And I can never always remember where people were like, so what's your secondary job? And I was like, I have no secondary job. Like when I dove into this, it was 150% all in. There was no, I quit every single thing, building construction and all that. I cut it off, and it was 100% that. And I never forget.
I think it's paid off.
Yeah. It's so far it's paid off. It's the people I've met over the years and stuff is, without all the people I have met and the people, you can't even imagine the amount of people, and it's not even people, it's friends that I have met that have done more and beyond to help me get to where I am. Because without listening to all those people and their ideas and their experiences and improvements, and people just, I still to this day, customers are like, hey man, I just want to help you out. I don't really mean to be bashing you, but nothing's a bash. I wouldn't be where I was if people didn't, feel obligated to speak up and, be generous enough, to try to help. And that's the name of the game. To this day, I try to reciprocate as much as I can, help people whenever I can, because I dang sure wouldn't have been able to do this without everybody. But I never forget, you know, in the old duck cabin, we had 3 other buddies that we went in, and you remember, got that old rickety camp, and man, we used to spend so much time fixing that thing up and rebuilding it. And I mean, we had a few people fall through the floor in that place. I don't know how somebody didn't die in that old rotten place. But anyways, got it fixed up, and it ended up being pretty nice. And heck, we tried to film that video in the garage, and you can go back on our YouTube channel, Southern Lite LED, and look where we filmed the first video and how goofy I looked. And I never forget your brother holding the microphone up above us. And I thought the touch with the little red LED light, you know, we took a headlamp, one of them Energizer headlamps, and turned it on in the back. That was pretty
ambience.
Sweet. Yep.
Yeah, and then was just my first time coming into Arkansas. I'd, you know, wood duck hunted in Alabama, but I'd always heard of, you know, Arkansas as the mecca of duck hunting. You know, all the hunting TV shows, you know, that's where you go is Arkansas. And being able to go up there with friends and to be able to do exactly, you know, what I've been seeing on TV, you know, running through the timber was just a surreal, you know, adrenaline rush that I thought I'd never get to do. I love that stuff. And then collaborate with Nelson on the video production was just so cool. And coming up with ideas, just ratchet strapping a tripod with the camera, you know, instead of being able to, you know, hand hold it, you know, put the camera there, and then we're going through the timber, and, you know, it's getting the perfect shot that we want. Got to figure out the exposure and, you know, make sure it's getting, you know, showing, you know, how much light this light is putting off, you know, because you can, you know, when you're filming, the camera can make it look darker and not as bright, you know, and it doesn't do it justice. So we've got to be able to do the settings, and it was like take after take after take, and looking at it and just be like, that's about it, you know. We're not cheating, and then we're not, you know, underselling it.
Yeah.
So
it was a
took
very
a lot.
hard thing to do, especially back then.
Yeah.
Today it's a lot easier with, I don't even know what kind of technology are in them phones to make the compensation and all that settings, ISO and everything's so great.
Yeah.
And I remember, I mean, people don't even realize this. If you go back, look at some of the videos, you'll be like, oh, that's a cool drone shot. Guys, we didn't even have drones.
No.
Drones didn't even exist. I mean, Leighton had the first drone of the first person I ever knew. And I don't even remember what it's called, but I mean, you strapped a GoPro to it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're strapping GoPros to this flying.
It was some Japanese name that I do not even remember to this day.
Yeah. I mean, I have no idea. It didn't take long, that thing crashed. But, but we didn't have that when some of these videos you go look at. I mean, Leighton, we were in flooded timber, and I'm pulling up to a tree, and he's hooking a tree stand to it.
The climber,
and climbing up in the middle of the woods in the pitch black dark with a headlamp and who knows how many thousands of dollars worth of camera gear. And, you know, we're out there in the middle of the night doing takes, trying to get this.
Were we calling each other?
Yeah.
And be like, okay, yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Can we get it, you know?
Come a little left.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, you just can't, because you can't, when a boat's coming by and then you do a take and you don't know what anything's going to look like. And so you've got to have your camera speed just right. You've got to have, you know, enough to where it doesn't blur and all that, your ISO and
focus. Everything's in focus.
Yeah, focus. Goodness, I don't know how many times we would go out and, I mean, heck, I remember that time we drove over to Alabama River behind Jordan Dam and did all those takes, and it was all trash.
Yeah.
I mean, you're like, man, I mean, the amount of gas and stuff, I mean, the money put into that, and then it's like trash. So it's come a long way, but it was definitely fun.
And then you've got to tie in killing ducks. And you know, you're not just going to go on your first day and kill, you know, 5 guys, kill a limited duck, you know. You got to hunt every day, you know, and then we've got built up enough ducks and enough footage, you know, that, you know, you got to be able to, you know, if you're going to have a duck boat with a nice, you know, boat light, it's to get you to the duck hole. We got to show some duck kills. So it was, you know, almost part of the job was, okay, now we get to have fun and kill ducks. That's my job. And so we got it. I mean, it took most of the year, and then a year after that, and then a year, and we just kept compiling it together. And met a lot of good friends, a lot of guys that were pro staff with these duck call companies, and were just incredible. And had awesome dogs, you know, just watching them work their dogs. And what's funny is back then was the decoys, we had them on poles, and had to rig some poles and made it look like the decoys were taking off and flying.
Yeah, the mojos were coming in. Yeah, landing.
And then we were able to have mojos then, and then they outlawed them, made them illegal, maybe not too long after that.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, man, that was probably one of my happiest days when they outlawed those things. I mean, they worked efficiently, but back then I was kind of the grunt guy in our hunting group. I mean, I was the one that, you know, literally had to sit there and, you know, go do all the chores, put out the decoys. I mean, I was the first mate, whatever you want to call it, but I was freaking running around, mojo up, mojo down, mojo off, mojo on. And I mean, the day they did that, I mean, I was so glad that I didn't have to go out there and fool with them stupid mojos.
I was the jerk string guy.
Yeah, he was low man on totem pole, but I mean, we had to learn and listen, man. Back then, it was a lot different. Like, you had to earn your way in to go hunt in them woods, man. The respect. And that's one thing that really bothers me. We'll probably touch on an episode or something like that. But the respect it took to get out there and be able to hunt. And, you know, these people that have been hunting there for, you know, 40, 50 years that, you know, I mean, my mentor, Roger, I mean, heck, I probably still another person. I wouldn't be where I was today, you know, if he hadn't taught me how to, I mean, because like you said, we had to have ducks. We had to go kill them. We had to be able to show them to get to where we were. And, you know, they just, you know, not anybody can do it. So we had to learn. We actually had to become, you know, the duck hunters. And without that, then we couldn't, we couldn't have got all those photos and videos and stuff that got, you know, this thing kicked off the way it was.
Another memory I had that stands out, that it hasn't happened much the past few times that I've gotten to go with Nelson was we would go to Lake Ashbaugh, and I mean just straight flooded with ducks, and that just blew my mind. And we were able to get photos, and you know, a lot of the stock footage, you know, came from there, getting photos, videos of them taking off, landing. And then the geese, the speckled belly geese was, I mean, just millions of them. We would ride just the rice fields, just driving down the road and just see them tornado.
Yeah, no one even hunted them back then.
Yeah, and this is unbelievable. And I mean, you can drive just miles and miles. You can see them for miles down that way. They're, you know, spinning right here. They're spinning, and that was just a different level.
It was. Yeah, I mean the times, like, and that's another thing people don't even really realize. Like back then, I don't even know if you know this, but I mean, Brandon Harris and Ron Kelly, and they took me up there for the first time. It was like, man, come on, you got to come see this. It's the craziest thing. Guys, we hunted the Black River for I think 2 to 3 years before we even knew Lake Ashbaugh existed. We were on the other side of the river, and we were hunting and going in a boat ramp, and we're like, no one's at this boat ramp. Like, heck, I think it was Dado or something like that. And I mean, we're going to this boat ramp with nobody's there. We're going in killing ducks. Kind of made our own little spot. And
Whose
somehow
boat was it? Whose boat?
Well, first it was Ron's boat. I mean, we're up there with a 20 horsepower Mercury jet, a jet boat
One of those,
in
with the jet
Arkansas
engines, yeah,
flooded timber, sucking up leaves. Like, can you even imagine what? I mean, we still had a 30, 40-minute boat ride. There was no getting on plane, but I mean, we were out there just absolutely loving it. And I think we were in Pocahontas one day and at a restaurant, and then you didn't even see duck hunters back then, really. And then, you know, here comes a duck hunter, you know, obvious with the camo and stuff on. And he was like, oh my gosh, have y'all been to Ashball and, you know, seen what it looks like and stuff like that? And we're like, Ashball, what's that? And I mean, like I said, this is 2 to 3 years before we even knew it existed. And, you know, nowadays that's all you hear and what everyone goes to.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, people think you can hunt it because it's so well known.
Yeah.
But it was really cool. And then we went, you know, around the south side and went to it, and then we were just like, holy moly, like light bulb, you know. Now this makes sense where all these ducks are here.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to learn that, and then meet Roger. I mentioned him, you know, at that boat ramp, who went there every day and judged the ducks and everything by flight patterns and everything coming off the lake. So it was really cool, really cool.
Those are good times. Good times. I wanted to touch on what you were just saying about changing your life and, you know, bringing people together was, and I'm just over here, you know, looking at this right here and, you know, thinking about, you know, when you first made it and, you know, you brought your duck boat up, there it was, and, you know, we were like, let's get some marketing material going and start pushing it. And, you know, in my brain, you know, I thought that's all this was going to be, you know, was the boat life.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. And and then it's, you know, grown all this and it's brought people together. Like, who would have thought, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's, you know, it may seem small, but there's, you know, a huge picture that, you know, this shines a light on, you know? And so it's pretty wild and crazy adventure that this thing has, you know, come through. And so anyways, it's just really cool.
Yeah, like I said, y'all stick with us. We're going to show you all the things that this has shined a light on, and hope you enjoy it.